Well, welcome to ITS Georgia. My name is Jenny. I'm the president of ITS Georgia this year. I work with Kimberly Horn. Just wanted to welcome everyone to this first time we've been at this facility. So glad y'all could make it down here. Hope traffic wasn't too bad. Hopefully we'll get you out in time before the president hits the road to get back to the airport. So, but just wanted to welcome any first-time attendees. Tradition, we like for you to stand up, kind of introduce yourself to the group. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. Anyone? I know I see some new faces. There we go. There's one.
Hi, my name is Emma Jensen. I work for Kimberly Horn. I recently relocated from the Houston, Texas area.
Welcome. Anyone else?
I'm Tyler Dickerson. I work for Gwinnett County Traffic Control Center.
Nice.
Danielle Deal. I work for Kimberly Horn.
I turn it off. Yeah, it's like static.
Demetrius Moore, also work for Kimberly Horn. I've been there for a little over a year.
Jen Chang, work for Modern Mobility Partners.
Oh, my name is Brent. So do I. Modern Mobility Partners.
Awesome. Welcome, guys. Anyone else? First time? Any students? No students? All right. Another thing we like to do is if there's been like any recent job changes, promotions, or anything that you want to let the group know about, feel free to stand up and announce that. Any changes? No? All right. Well, we'll get into our committee updates. Communications outreach. I didn't know, Bill, if you had any updates. The fantastic Bill Wells.
Let's see. Well, I think you're going to cover it.
I think I will cover them.
Yes.
So, the face of ITS Georgia. Legislative, I think legislation's pretty quiet right now. I don't even see Tom. So we'll table that. Tom, any updates?
No.
No updates? Okay. Membership, Tom and Billy could not be here today, but just to let you guys know that non-member rates do apply. So if you are not a member yet, obviously you got to pay the non-member rates for monthly meetings, events, and our upcoming annual meeting. So I highly encourage you guys to get those dues in. If you have any questions, please feel free to see me or Bill. You can easily go online, itsgeorgia.org, and pay your dues on there. With ITS Georgia, companies apply, so once your company is a member, all of your employees are members. Networking and social, Miss Rachel.
Hey everyone, no social this month, but next month we are doing a tour of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It will be on May 30th at 5 o'clock. Need everyone to be there by 4:45. It will be $5 a person. And then we are doing a happy hour at Stats Brewery afterwards. So we'll cover a couple of pictures of beer. So be on the lookout. I'll send Bill all the details, and that'll be next month's social. Working on a bowling social that'll be family friendly in the 285 Dunwoody area. And got a lot of other cool things coming up for the rest of the year. Some family friendly, looking at a food and wine festival, and of course some more trivia. So be on the lookout for all of that.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Those e-blasts should be coming out for that tour. I know they did stress the 4:45 start time because the tour will start on time. So if you sign up for that, there are limited seats. So please be sure to arrive on time. ITS Georgia annual meeting. Mark your calendars. It'll be October 6th through the 8th in Athens, Georgia. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a progressive dinner again, go to Creature Comforts, and we should have a pretty good technical program. The call for papers will be going out shortly in the next few days, so be on the lookout for that. Is Mahesh here? No. So if you're interested in getting involved in a committee or anything like that, KCI is the committee chair this year for the conference, so feel free to reach out to Chuck Bailey and you can get involved with that. ITS America annual meeting is in Washington, D.C. this year. It's going to be June 4th through the 7th. The theme is Intelligent Mobility, Safer, Greener, Smarter. It's going to highlight some of the business challenges around the federal, state, and local policy and legislation for intelligent mobility. So become a part of the conversation that will determine the regulatory and legal environment for data sharing, privacy, security, safety, testing, workforce, and automation. So conference and hotel registration is open for that. Go to itsamerica2019.org, I believe is the website for that. So Monthly meeting sponsors. So this month, I'll let Axis come up. Sam with Axis Communications is our sponsor for this month, but we do have some availabilities still. We have 5 months, June, August, September, November, and December. So if your company is interested in becoming a monthly sponsor, please come see me or Winter Horrible or Mark Dimidovich. We can get you set up for that. Starting in June, we are actually going to be decreasing our prices for public agency and retirees for our monthly meetings. So instead of the $15, it is going to be dropped down to $10 for our luncheons for public sector and retirees. I try to encourage some of those public sector members to come out and join us for some of our meetings. So that'll start in June, so be on the lookout for that. In May, E-blasts have already been sent out for registration for that, but our May monthly meeting is actually going to be Thursday, May 9th. It's going to be held jointly with Georgia ITE and ACEC Georgia. It's going to be back at City Springs, the new, I guess it's a community performing arts center. It's a really nice venue, but we're going to be held jointly with them, and we're going to have a kind of a panel presentation on the Super Bowl and all the transportation and mobility logistics behind that. So it should be a really interesting meeting. E-blast and registration is open for that. That will replace our May 29th meeting. So typically, ITS Georgia, we typically meet the last Wednesday of every month, but because we're meeting on the 9th, we will not have the May 29th. So we'll meet again in the end of June. But we will have our social on the 30th, so be on the lookout for that. So I think that's all that I had. Anyone else have any committee updates or announcements for the group before we dive into the speaker today? Nope. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Sam. This is Axis Communications, our sponsors for today's lunch. We appreciate it. Let you kind of give a 15 to 20 minute long talk.
Oh boy, the pressure's on. I don't have a presentation. I didn't want to bore everyone with the details of how we invented the IP camera in 1996. I would like to say thank you for allowing me to come up here and speak and sponsor the event. I believe this is my third event having been here, so yes, I am new. We are the preferred manufacturer for 360 Network Solutions, and I know there's A&Es and lots of engineers in the building, in the room, representatives from various counties, municipalities in the metro area. So while you may not know me necessarily, you probably know Rachel and Billy at 360 Network Solutions. So I am the representative, one of three in the market, or in the state, I should say, for Axis cameras. Excuse me. Fighting pollen. And just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to be a part of the group, and hope you're enjoying your lunch, and I will be around. That's all I have.
All right, it is my pleasure today to introduce Mr. Frank Morris. He is the Vice President of Corporate Public Affairs with UPS. He's kind of give us I don't know if you're aware, but there's a new UPS distribution facility located off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard right around the corner from us. He's going to kind of give us a presentation on all of that. We appreciate you coming.
Great, thanks, Jenny. So for the next 30 minutes, this will be a UPS commercial, so indulge me. Let's see if the technology stayed awake. And then Bill's going to make me wear this because I'm going to move around a little bit. Bill, can you hear me?
Sounds good.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
Hear me now? Okay, great. All right. Thanks for letting me join you. Kofi extended the invitation, so I appreciate that. I've had an opportunity to talk to some different ARC groups through Daniel's invites as well, so I appreciate the opportunity. What I do for UPS is state government affairs. So I lobby on behalf of UPS in 6 southeast states. I'm not an engineer, so just get that qualified right now. If you ask any engineering questions, I'm going to probably have to defer or make something up, so just so you know. But I do talk about public policy with state and local governments about access when they try to deny access, or when they are forward-thinking and they engage us and say, hey, we're thinking about this, and what do you think, UPS? And so that's my background. I'm 35 years with UPS, so I bring that knowledge of what we do and how we do it to the job, and that's kind of what I'll talk to you about. So there's two big buckets we'll talk about. Is one, how we deliver what we deliver, and where we engage with planners like yourselves and folks that are designing streetscape and designing traffic patterns and deciding how much this curb space is really worth and trying to monetize that. And then I'll talk about vehicles for a second. And we have a couple of vehicles, newer technology out front, a semi-tractor and a brown package car. We call them package cars, not trucks, but a package car that delivers packages to your homes and businesses. So, and we'll step outside for that. And I do have a smart person, Jason Garrett, who's an automotive supervisor that can talk about the technology on those vehicles. So, and stop me if any questions. And let's see if I can get this to work so I don't have to stand in the corner. Maybe not.
I'll just advance it for you.
Okay. Well, Kofi, let me stand here because I'm going to start a video, and then, sorry, Bill. Okay, why is it? So, e-commerce, we're all playing in the e-commerce space, right? If I asked you to raise your hand, how many people bought something this week on with their phone or their tablet, not while you were at work, of course, because you'd never do that. But by 2021, $4.5 trillion spent e-commerce worldwide. We know that. Someone has told us that. That's what the projection is. And probably it exceeds that expectation. Because if you look at just the last holiday season, expectations were exceeded in the amount of money spent, amount of packages shipped. So maybe that's a very conservative projection. But that is driving a lot of behavior, right? In how we live, shop, on the work side, businesses that are in this space delivering these packages, trying to figure out where you put a DC so it's close enough to your customers so they get their stuff 5 minutes before they even knew they wanted it. I mean, that's how we think of things, right? We want it right now. So that's e-commerce. So 57% of online shoppers made an online purchase in the past 6 months from an overseas market. So by show of hands, how many of you bought something from overseas? Yeah, pretty. Maybe we're not 57% of us have done that. But North America is lagging behind in that stat when you look at Europe and even Latin America. So that's just broadening that market for shipping and buying stuff. So what does a Fortune 50 company do in response to all of this e-commerce? We build a 1.25 million square foot distribution center just up the street, like half a mile. So if you were to look, you can see the airport runway, and this building's on the other side. So that is our new SMART facility, Southeast Regional Distribution Center. Has over probably upwards now of 3,500, 3,800 employees working out of it, 24/7 or 24/6, if you will. It's our largest ground facility, or excuse me, our second largest ground facility in the U.S. network. And it has the capability of growing. So this building right here can process 100,000 packages an hour. So what does that mean for the number of vehicles on the road, the transportation challenges? We were sitting here at lunch talking about the transportation challenges we have just getting off of 285, making that left-hand turn on a FIB from Hollowell Parkway. There are challenges. Because it's not just our vehicles coming in, it's our employees coming to work. Facilities like this attract other distribution centers. If you're the Office of Economic Development for Georgia, you want to say and you want to mention, look, move to Georgia, move next to this great new facility that UPS has. I hope that's what they're saying. And interject your packages into UPS as late as 11 o'clock at night, and they'll get moved and processed and even delivered tomorrow. And you're not paying overnight rates, you're paying ground rates. Or you're paying ground rates and they're delivered in 2 days. So this building is going to attract more traffic than we already see in this in this neighborhood. I've already had the people that use the Fulton Industrial Airport complain about takes longer to get to their private jets. So here's a little
This
blurb.
is the Southeast Metro Automated Routing Terminal. 1.2 million square feet, a 350-acre footprint, 18 miles of belts, conveyors, and rollers, thousands of trucks and package cars, all supported by innovative smart package technology.
Okay, just a quick blurb on that. Kofi asked if we could hold this meeting over there. Actually, we're not set up to hold large groups, if you can imagine that. Conference room space is at a premium because we're wanting to run packages through it. But eventually, we'll be able to do a tour of the facility where we have headsets so you can stay in small groups and you can hear the tour guide taking you through the facility. If you've ever toured our Louisville facility, that's how we do it. We want to show it off. It's just that we opened it up fully September, November of last year, and those things are still coming online. So maybe another annual meeting or something that we might be able to set up a tour. So out of that building comes a couple hundred package cars every morning to deliver around Atlanta. Now this isn't Atlanta, but this driver is doing something that you would appreciate, because if there's stuff on that car and it's being delivered to your home or your business, you want it. But look where he or she is parked. 3-lane, one direction. Now there's no yellow or red markings on the curb, but I think that's from what I can see, my limited knowledge, I think that's a travel lane, right? That should be used all the time. They want 3 lanes of travel going that way. So there probably isn't a better way to do this other than there's the front door and there's where the vehicle needs to be. And if you look down the street, there's even another one parked farther down the street. So this is that challenge about that really, really high-priced real estate called the curbside. And how do we manage this? And we are working with the City of Atlanta. Is anybody here from the City of Atlanta? Great. So we're working with Joshua Pringle and the parking team, because the City of Atlanta is going to roll out a new parking plan. So that's a challenge. So this is a challenge. You look at that and you say, well, what's going on here? Curbside management again, right? You've got curbside, you got the yellow van, you got the white van, got a bike lane, and the cyclist is not able to use the bike lane, and you got the zero-emission vehicle going down the road. But today, when I used this clip last year in a different discussion to highlight the curbside access, last year, it didn't cost this white vehicle in the City of Atlanta. It might have cost them a small ticket if they got ticketed. What did the City of Atlanta do earlier this year? They announced, the City Council passed unanimously, that if a vehicle is parked, if a commercial vehicle with more than 6 wheels or more, is parked in the bike lane, it's a ticket. Anybody have any idea how much? $1,000. Yeah. Oh my gosh, $1,000. And that driver is just trying to do the right thing. He's trying to unload stuff. Now, I don't know what's on the other side of that panel van. I don't know if there was not a space and he just took that space, but the delivery had to be made right there. So if you don't park there, where do you park? Do you go around the block and look for a space? Keep going around and around and around? Do you double park? Do you say, oh, take your chance, I'm going to hustle in, hustle out? By the way, the City of Atlanta, if you're driving your personal vehicle and you are parked in a bike path, it's a $100 fee. Used to be $25 or $50. So you're not getting off either. But it's obviously a problem in the City of Atlanta, and they're wanting to address it. So part of them addressing it is we're going to really discourage people from parking here, and we're going to work on a freight loading plan that we think will work with the majority of people delivering in the City of Atlanta. And they have engaged us early on for us to work with them to say, for them to share their ideas and for us to say, well, here's what we can tell you. Because we have data. Engineers love data, right? Facts don't lie. We have data that can tell the city or anybody, how many deliveries at that address, how long the driver was parked there, how many packages they delivered, how many unique delivery stops they made within that one address. There might be, multiple apartments, and how many packages, and we can tell that for every city block, for every residential. We have that data. So sharing that with the city, we're able to say, look, here's what we do in the city. How does this line up with your idea for freight loading zones? Wow, we didn't know you were here this long. One of the things that they've done is when they roll it out is you'll be able to purchase permits to deliver in the city, but they'll be time-based, whether you need a 30-minute permit or a 1 hour or 2 hour permit, which that makes sense. Not everybody needs to be on the curb for a half an hour in and out, but we might need to be on the curb in front of 2 or 3 high-rise buildings because they don't have dock space. So that's the benefit of working with the city. And I know many of you represent different municipalities throughout the metro Atlanta area. We appreciate that engagement to be able to sit down with you and talk about what the data that we have and your ideas. So there's this new paradigm. We think there's this new paradigm that it is essential that freight and e-commerce delivery services, we do facilitate the quality of life. Do you not appreciate having something delivered to your home versus having to go out and get it? Do you not appreciate that, or appreciate it having delivered to your office and not worrying about whether you're going to be home or not? Maybe your business has that concierge type service for you. But the fact is that what we do, we think is essential. We prove that every day. We're much greener than you are going out in your vehicle to do your 1 or 2 stop shopping experience versus dispatching a brown vehicle or other competitor vehicles that have hundreds of deliveries on them. So we're greener in what we do, but we have to have that access to be able to do what we do. So we do think it is an issue about quality of life. We do reduce congestion. We do facilitate better air quality. If it's 200 delivery vehicles delivering 20,000 packages, as opposed to individuals going out or smaller, fewer delivery stops on a vehicle, we think that is a preferred way, and it's better for the environment. And my second section, I'll talk about the investments that we have made in alternative fuel vehicles. So everybody wants a walkable, bikeable, livable neighborhood, right? You want to be able to go to that restaurant. You want to be able to enjoy that good food. You want to be able to go to those shops. We need to be able to deliver their stuff as well as your stuff. And if you are in that business of permitting buildings, designing buildings and approving, okay, this is what the developer wants to do. They got this great idea. They're going to have 100 apartments downtown. They're going to have shops down below and nice restaurants. The question you got to ask, should be asking is, all right, well, where do the service vehicles park? Where do the vehicles delivering all the e-commerce park? What allowances have you made for that? Because it shouldn't default to just on the curbside, right? That's just limited space. So you need to, I think the way to work together on this is to be asking those types of questions and really planning this out. I mean, in an office tower of 100 people, how many of them do you think on a weekly basis are receiving something via UPS or the post office or any of our competitors? Probably quite often. So by 2050, nearly 70% of the population is going to live in cities. And how are those residents going to get their stuff? How are they going to get around? This is, if you look in the corner here, it says UPS Access Point. One of the ideas that we have, and that we've pioneered this, is we partner with businesses in the neighborhood that will accept packages on your behalf. So you're not home, you have something coming, you know it's coming because we've told you, because you're a member of UPS My Choice, you've got an alert, you're not going to be home, you can have us forward it to this access point. If you're not home and we attempted to deliver it at your house, we might then leave it at the access point and leave you a note that that's where the package is at. The next time you might ask us just to leave it directly at the access point. The shopkeeper makes a little bit of money. Your packages are safe until you're able to pick them up. Okay. Here's another solution, and the heading is there's no silver bullet to urban delivery. That's true. Here's another idea. UPS access point. It's a UPS locker. Anybody picked up a package out of a locker? Maybe not a UPS locker. Daniel has. Yeah. Was it easy? Convenient? We like to put these up. We rushed to market 2 years ago, putting up around 300 around the country. We know our competitors are doing this as well. You have, I mentioned concierge service at an apartment complex or a condominium complex. You might have a locker like this in that facility to hold your packages. But they're actually pretty easy and quick to put up. You know what takes forever to get them put in place? Permitting. In my territory, Florida is one of the states. I don't know how many municipalities they have, 600 or whatever, some crazy number. Some cities welcomed it. Others said, whoa, hold on, we don't have a permitting process for this. We don't have an ordinance for this. We can't do this until we go through the process to have an ordinance to do it. And I get it. That makes sense, right? You just don't want stuff popping up all over. But you know what? That process isn't built for speed. Submit some drawings. We'll kick them back to you. We've got to have a public hearing. We've got to see all the detail. We got to have multiple public hearings. You got to come back and fix stuff. So when that happens, at the time we were rolling these out, we just moved on. We said, all right, we get it. You have a process. We have a process. We'll come back and talk to you later. And we did that in some instances. In other instances, we said, some cities were very open and said, we'd like to do something like that. Why don't you give us the drawings? We'll see and see how quickly we can move. And they did, and we worked together, and it paid off. All right? But that's another way of you getting your packages. And it's just one way we're exploring. So access points, this is considered another access point. So the key to how cities and companies work together, we have to work together if we're going to solve these challenges. Imagine this, so 225 package cars are leaving out of that SMART facility to deliver to Metro Atlanta area. We cross city boundaries, right? We have to be able to work with the cities to be able to facilitate what we're doing, to work with DOT, like they worked with us to put up this new building. We want to be involved in these planning challenges that you're thinking about doing. What about this? So Jenny's got this idea. She wants to roll it out. They want to do something different with an intersection or maybe downtown parking. We want to be involved in that because we think we can add value to that, because if it works for us, it's going to work for everybody, we think, because we're all kind of rotating in there. If you think about a restaurant district, they like to get their food, their meat, their dry goods, their linens, their flowers, all early in the morning. They don't want the kitchen having to do anything with that, so they can get prepped for lunch, right? They certainly don't want to deal with it in the evening. Well, by the time they're off the street, maybe they're off the street by 8, 9 o'clock, here rolls out UPS, and we're moving into the parking spaces that they occupied. And you know what? Hopefully we're off the streets by 5 or 6 o'clock. So now those loading zones could be accessible to the citizens that live there, so because they're coming back home. So we have big data. We're able to share it when it's appropriate to leverage the best solution for that municipality to work together. So I'm going to switch gears. Any questions about what I talked about there? Yeah.
How realistic is it to have my packages delivered by drone?
It's realistic. We've proven it, but you have to recognize that the FAA owns the space, right? So until they figure out exactly what the parameters are, we're testing, and I'll show you a vehicle. We've tested, we've demonstrated it can be done. I don't have a slide on this, but when I get to the drone slide, I'll talk about another solution. But it's doable right now. But we look at it as a helper to the driver, not replacing the driver. Okay? So the drone's actually on the top of the package car. All right? So this is just our approach to vehicle technology. It's a rolling laboratory. We're trying many different types of technologies. You know, what is that bridge fuel that's going to take us from petroleum products to what's the next product? Is it, you know, right now we're invested in natural gas, propane, but we're also invested in electric hybrids, biodiesel, biomethane, renewable natural gas. So that's just some of them. I'm going to talk about the different vehicles and electric and bikes. So just a little automotive facts about UPS. 1913, we bought our first Model T truck. We have a, if you ever come to the UPS corporate office, we have one in the lobby. We introduced electric vehicles back in 1930s in New York. So here we are, full circle back in 2015, 16, we brought electric vehicles back into testing. We've been testing and using propane package cars since the 80s. Just a little note, we have used propane package cars in Canada for decades. We didn't in the US until just a few years ago. And the reason that we did in Canada was the purity, the quality of the propane that they had in Canada was better than the propane quality in the US. And it wasn't until fracking exploded and made propane more of a available product, and I guess the quality improved enough that we're saying, all right, we're going to introduce this to the UPS, into the US market, and we went from having 0 to 1,000 vehicles pretty much very quickly overnight. 1989, we began testing compressed natural gas vehicles. And you'll see a compressed natural gas tractor. And in 2002, LNG vehicles. Not too far from here, well, a couple hundred miles, Jacksonville, Florida. Our fleet there is over 150 LNG tractors. And those tractors are running, they're Class A tractors. They're running 600 miles, maybe twice a day. You have 2 different drivers, 2 different shifts, which has helped us achieve over 1 billion miles driven under alternative fuel, mostly natural gas, either in CNG or LNG form, plus our advanced technology vehicles. So now we have over 10,000 vehicles, alternative fuel vehicles in our fleet, and over 1,000 of those are all electric vehicles. And we'll have a zero-emission vehicle outside, a hybrid on that. Yeah, question?
What's the typical lifespan of a package car?
10, 11, 12. If the finance person says make it run longer. We maintain our vehicles very well. We get the most out of them that we can. So we do run them a long time.
10 years.
Yeah. Yep. But imagine this. If you drive for UPS, all you have to worry about is get in the vehicle, you do your safety check, you got your packages, you know what you're doing for the day. End of the day, you come back, something's not right. Mechanic's right there waiting for you. You write it up, and if they can, they fix it overnight, it's back in service. And that's how we're able to keep our vehicles running as long as we can. And we use telematics. And I'll talk about that in just a second. That helps us. So one more quick video about alt fuels. Thank you. So over at the SMART facility, we have natural gas fueling station for CNG. So we can fuel package cars and tractors. And the long-range plan is that eventually every vehicle being dispatched out of that facility will be an alternative fuel-powered vehicle. So, yeah.
Your electric vehicles, range-wise, I mean, can they make it through a shift?
Absolutely, yeah. We have all this data. We know how far each route, typically how many miles they drive every day. So it's a pretty high number of routes, delivery routes, that that a electric vehicle would work just fine. The one that you're going to look at outside is a hybrid. It's a battery pack, but it also has a small generator on board that would charge the batteries on area if needed. Otherwise, it'll drive about 70 miles. I told you I'd have a smart person here to talk about these vehicles. Jason just walked in, and he's going to be with us when we go outside and take a look at the vehicles. So anything I said that he corrects, he's right. All right? So drone. This is what we demonstrated, and there's a video for this. I'm not going to overwhelm you with videos, but this is an example of a hybrid electric vehicle with a drone on the top. The vehicle can charge the drone. The drone can carry up to a 5-pound package, I believe. And we look at drone technology with a vehicle as assisting the driver. So if I'm a driver and my route, I can deliver 15 stops, individual stops, an hour. Well, what about if the drone comes on board and the drone delivers 4 or 5? So now I'm delivering, the drone and I are delivering 20 stops an hour. And that's how we see that drone technology working. In this example, if you look this up, UPS drone delivery, the driver pulls up to a long driveway, goes into the back of the cab, puts the basket is actually accessible inside the cab or in the cargo compartment, puts the package in the basket, goes back to the control panel, sends the drone on its way. Driver drives off, makes a delivery. The drone takes the package to the carport, lands, drops the package on the carport, goes and meets the driver. So they've just delivered 2 stops in the time it would have taken the driver to deliver 1. And it was a long driveway. So when you think about rural areas as well, there's an application for that. So in Raleigh, about a month ago, we've had this long partnership. I mentioned the FAA is, they're controlling the space. The FAA and DOT issued some licenses around the country, competitive licenses, and UPS and Matternet and the Wake Med Hospital institution or business partnered together to set up drone delivery within the Wake Med campus. So it is the first commercial operable service of drone delivery. It was first to market. We beat our competitors, but what the drone does is it moves blood supplies on campus, takes them up and over the buildings, and they're able to land, take the package, the blood supplies, take them into the lab to be tested. Before the drone, they would have a courier service that would, because of parking lots and distances and stuff like that, they were making a loop about every 2 hours. The drone can do this in less than, between me receiving the package, walking out, putting it in the drone, sending the drone on its way in just a few minutes. So that's an example of, that is line of sight operation, but ultimately we hope to be able to do that without line of sight control. So you saw some of the bicycles. So we started out as a messenger company, walking and delivering with bicycles, and now we're coming full circle back. These are some different types of bicycles, e-trikes that we use. This is a concept in Hamburg that one of our first ones that has led to other applications here in the U.S. This is Fort Lauderdale 2 Christmases ago, and Vail just before. A partnership of working with the developer, working with the city, and UPS. They wanted it, we wanted to try it, and it worked, and it works. Hybrid electric vehicle, low emissions, you're going to see that. So I know technology on the vehicles and maybe the smart grid could be appealing. Right now, where we're at in this space is we're monitoring all of that technology. We have smart cars, but they're focused on 2 things, safety and maintenance. So we're able to know if the driver drives with the door open, with the bulkhead door open, with the seatbelt off, if they're, how many times they backed, because you never want to back, you want to avoid backing, how many harsh brakings, vehicle GPS. And so that focuses on the safety aspect, but then the maintenance side of it, how we're able to take such good care of our vehicles is we used to switch out alternators every, you know, I don't know whether it was 90 days, 100, or 2 years or something like that, based on we think we should. Now we have sensors that tell us when we should. So we're not cycling through good equipment. So other technology on the vehicles. So our advanced technology, we have a Tesla tractor, not out front. They're not going to deliver them for a while. But that's what it would look like, we hope. We made a commitment to buy 125 Tesla tractors. It's the largest order, so not sure when they're going to get delivered, but we're ready to take them and put them in cycle. This is a different type of bike. This cargo compartment actually rolls up into this vehicle, so you can switch this out. So if you think of a downtown metro area with a trailer that has multiple of these, the driver comes in, loads one up, goes out and does the deliveries, comes back, takes the empty one off, puts another one on.
And you can use the cycle track to do that.
Cycle track.
The bike lane.
You know, if the city would work with us and they gave us that access, absolutely. But, you know, once again, it comes down to, well, what does that look like? What's it going to do? And but certainly we would ask for that, that authority. So just some more numbers about the different types of vehicles and where we have them. E-bikes, ethanol in Europe, biomethane. That 9100 is actually over 10,000 now. In Georgia, we have over 146 CNG tractors. We fuel on property, well over 200 CNG package cars now, I think, between multiple locations. And we entered into a deal with Workhorse, which is an American company, that they build the package car that we're going to see out front, but that one has a generator on board, but they have gone to a truly zero emission, no generator on board, and we put in an order for 1,000 of those. We'll start to put those into cycle. So here's my last bit of the commercial. If you don't have UPS My Choice, sign up for UPS My Choice. It doesn't cost you anything, and any package that's coming to you that might go through that smart facility, you're going to get notice days in advance, and the day before, and the day of on delivery. And if you're not home, you can tell us to redirect it, you can tell us to hold it. And it makes your life easier, makes our life easier. So with that, I'm done. Thank you. Any questions? All right. Yeah.
I've got one about, how do you incentivize the drivers to be efficient in their routes and make sure they're doing the right thing?
Well, we have engineers that tell us how long it should take to deliver a route based on how many packages, how many stops. And there's time studies involved in that, as you can imagine. So if I'm a driver, I know that what I have on my route today is about a 9-hour planned day. So that's my target. Okay? There are variables, of course, but that's the target. So that's what we're working on. That kind of sets the parameter. Yeah. Yes.
I'm very interested in the drone delivery example you showed. My understanding of autonomous vehicles is that one of the holdups of that technology is the imprecision of GPS, sometimes being as far as 3 meters away from where you want to know the precise location of something. So is there some different technology that you're using for the drones so that you can ensure the package gets like on a carport and not like in a bush next to the carport? Is there, do you know what?
I don't know what that is, but I'm sure there is. The company that we're partnering with, Matternet, builds the drone that we use at the WakeMed facility. I don't know what that technology is, but I know that they have a landing platform that's like 3 foot by 3 foot, and that's where the drone lands. And they're able to just pull the package off. Yeah. Yeah.
You try a new technology. Can you describe the process by which you have, like, select people play with it? And how does that roll out from idea to full production?
Well, we have an advanced technology group and a strategy group that rolled into one now, I believe. They work together. So an idea comes to mind, and it gets vetted and tested, and we have people looking at all types of technology. So if smart people in a room sit down and they say, well, what about this? Then the research is done, and it gets tested and prototyped. That's why you look at the different vehicle technology that we use on the different fuels. I mean, it is a test environment. We're not, it has to be reliable. We think we want to send a driver out with a vehicle that we know is going to work, but we are testing these vehicles like electric vehicles. What is the true duty cycle? Manufacturer says 70 miles. Okay, in real world, harsh, rugged, not harsh, rugged, but it is fully utilized 5 days a week. What is the duty cycle of that vehicle? And that's why we're testing it. And so we do work with the manufacturers very closely to go back to them and say, this is what we're experiencing, this is what works, this is what doesn't work, what about tweaking this? So it's close collaboration. You've got people in a room talking about these concepts and then going to the manufacturers and saying, what about trying this? So imagine this, the natural gas example of, back in 1989, we were using natural gas. Does anybody remember what we were thinking about natural gas back in the 80s? How many 70s, 80s, early 90s? We were going to run out. We were absolutely going to run out, right? And so I'm curious, and I haven't got the answer from inside our operation, but some very smart people said, we should try this technology. And lo and behold, the testing of the technology and getting the tractors to where they would have a good duty cycle, and they're just as reliable as diesel, and it's an efficient plan, somehow aligned with the fact that now we have this great abundant source of North American fuel. And that has worked for the industry. And that continues to bring down the price of vehicles. Had we not been testing and working with the OEMs on the technology, we might not have been ready to take advantage of that. And one of the other things we're working on right now is hydrogen vehicles. And so we're going to be testing those in a duty cycle. So, yeah.
What is a hybrid electric hydraulic vehicle?
A hybrid hydraulic vehicle, gas or diesel package car. It has hydraulic cams, so the stopping and the braking energy gets absorbed into the hydraulic canisters, and when the vehicle starts off, those hydraulic canisters release, and that energy releases, and it helps to propel the vehicle. Now, that only saves us, Jason, how much on fuel?
Not as much as you would think. It depends on the duty cycle, if it's going to be mostly highway or if it's going to be a lot of city driving like that.
Yeah.
Probably seeing 30%, something like that.
Saving on fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we would all enjoy 30% on our personal vehicle, but multiply that by 30,000 vehicles or 2,000 vehicles, it becomes significant. So it's about us saving a little bit along the way. I'll leave you with one more fun fact in Georgia, and then we'll go outside if you want. In Georgia, we used 9 million gallons of diesel and gas in 2017. I don't have the 2018 numbers yet. We used 2.6 million gallons of alt fuels, like natural gas or propane. We drove 124 million miles in Georgia in 2017. So saving just a little bit on every one, along the way, is still a big number, right? And so that's why we do this kind of stuff. So, all right, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.